All right, guys, we're going to talk about microphones. Now, out of all the different camera parts, the microphone is actually the most important part of the camera. If you can believe this, think about it in this kind of thought. How many times do you go and watch a silent movie? Probably not very often, but you do listen to music, right? And you maybe listen to podcasts and things like that. We actually treat audio more important than the video. So when in doubt, we want to always capture good audio. So that's the number one thing. Audio is king to creating a good story. So with that in mind, microphones are really important. This is the big thing between when we're recording with a cell phone versus a camera, is a lot of times people don't have the microphones to plug into their with their cell phones. And so what happens is the video still might look good. You might take great pictures, great angles and stuff, but the audio might fall flat. So we're going to talk about how do we capture good audio, because that's our number one thing in here. Our number one job is to be good storytellers. If people are going to tell a good story, we've got to be able to hear them. So there's a couple different things. Number one, we have built-in microphones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the camera and then record me talking with the built-in microphone versus this shotgun I'm using right now. All right, now this is how it sounds with just the regular microphone. So if I back up, that regular microphone is a stereo microphone, so it records equally all around. But as you can hear from back here, it sounds a lot different than when I come up here with this built-in microphone, just like this. Now I'm going to swap it back out and do the same thing. All right, that last video you heard was just this stereo built-in microphone, and you could hear it just didn't sound that well. It's kind of faded off. It records equally all around. Same thing with cell phones. They kind of work like this, where if you hold it up to your mouth, it works great, but then if you're recording video, it's not necessarily recording what you point at. So that's why we use these microphones, which are called shotgun mics. So if I mount this on here and this cold shoe adapter here, we drape it over the top, we plug the microphone in here where it says mic. Okay, and when we turn it on, it automatically powers on, and what we do is we keep it at the 150 on the cut filter, and then on this side we add 20 decibels, so you actually pick up a higher quality sound if you let the microphone help you do some of that work. So right now it sounds really good, and what a shotgun mic does is it records more in front and less behind. So we're going to show you that pickup pattern here with this microphone. So first I'm going to walk backwards so you can hear how it sounds. I'm talking in the same volume. So you can see when I get to about this far away here how it sounds to you, the audience. But as I get closer, you're going to see right about at about waist up shot that all of a sudden the audio sounds much better, especially if I'm closer like this. So even in here, and it's hard to record yourself by the way, but even in here, when I'm at about a chest up shot, or even shoulders up, you can hear me really well. These shotgun mics have a great pickup pattern from about 3 to 6 feet away. So even if I'm right about here, it still sounds pretty good. But if I'm way back there, it doesn't sound as good. Another reason we like shotgun mics is because it records less noise from the sides and behind. So I'm going to talk the same voice, and now I'm going to walk around the microphone so you can see how the microphone changes and how it records the sound. You're still going to hear my voice, but it's going to be a little bit isolated. It's not going to sound as loud as if I was standing right in front of the microphone. So I walked all the way around, but as you can tell, it sounds much better when you're in front. This is very helpful when we're in a noisy environment such as a school. Another thing that professionals use is they use these shotgun microphones, but what they do is instead of having it mounted on their camera like what we do, they actually have it on a big pole. And they hold it over their shoulders, and then they put this microphone right over the top of the actors, right off screen. So it's like dangling right over here. And if you think about it, that's only a couple feet away from the person's mouth. That's going to capture really good audio. But the problem is we're not going to run around with boom poles, and then how do you capture this audio? This audio then has to go to another device, a recording device, to capture that audio. So if we were professionals, we would capture the audio on a different SD card so it could hold the highest quality sound, and then our video we would only capture using the video camera, so it was just worried about the highest quality video with only a little bit of the sound. And then through video editing, we can actually match those up pretty easy with a couple plugins. But we don't necessarily go that route. We want to keep things simple. We're just starting off, so we're not going to separate our audio recordings into a separate device. We have it plugged in straight to the camera just because it's easier to use that way since we're just starting off. And we don't have 6, 7 boom poles for people to run around in with that as well. We were more concerned about the audio, but we're going to have to adjust our stories to where people are going to talk from that 3 to 6 feet range. If they're further away from that, we can still show action and stuff, but I wouldn't show a lot of where an actor has to talk and the audience needs to listen. If they just have to shout or something like, "Hey, what up?" You can do that in a far away shot. But when we're talking about actually listening to what people say, you want to be in a shot that's like chest up, and we're going to emphasize that when we get into the next unit when we talk about basic camera shots. So, beyond the shotgun mic, there's a couple other things. With this one here, it actually has this cover on it, so I'm going to take it off. And what this does is it helps eliminate wind noise. This helps for about 10, 15, maybe 20 mile an hour winds. And there's little fins on the inside here where the sound comes in, but it helps block some of that. Then we have some other kinds of things that can help. You might see what they call a dead cat. It's basically a furry cover that when the wind blows, it deflects some of that. And this will help tremendously, especially if you're on a beach or something or next to the ocean where you have like maybe 30 to 50 mile an hour winds. That will help lessen those noises a lot. And even on little clip-on mics and stuff, sometimes you'll see where they have that little furry cover on versus the foam cover. Foam cover works pretty good, but covers a lot better. Then there's wireless mics. We have different kinds of wireless mics, but we don't use them a lot except for in studio. But basically, it's a clip-on mic. It looks like this. There's usually a transmitter that a person has, and then a receiver that's plugged into another camera. So the other thing we want to talk about is connectors. You have stereo connectors. It looks just like a headphone jack. Okay? That's a stereo connector. The way you know it's stereo, it has 2 inputs right there. It has 2 circles on the ring. Then we get into more professional hookup, which is this cord right here. And if you notice, there's 3 prongs in there. One for the left channel, one for the right channel, and one's a ground. This is a more professional connector, and it will actually provide better sounding audio than just the stereo connector. So if you're going to step up a notch, these are called XLR cords. Okay, we have some cameras that have them. Most of our cameras don't right now. We just are using the stereo. And as we go into a more professional studio situation, that's where we would use XLR cords to make sure that we have the best sounding audio going into our audio board. So, that being said, like I said, to reiterate and just go over here real quick, internal microphones work. They're okay on cell phones too, but you got to be very close to capture good audio because it's meant for capturing close-up stuff. The further away you are, it's just not going to pick you up as loud. Internal mics record all around. Shotgun mics are more directional, and same thing with these clip-ons. They're more directional, so if you clip them on here, they record more right here around you and less in the background noise. Shotgun mics are more sensitive and record more what you point at and less on the sides. And again, professionals use boom poles and hold it right off screen for their actors to talk, and they actually walk around and move with them to get the highest quality audio as possible. So remember, when we're recording, if you have to think about what size shot, how far away you are from your actor, you got to think, number one, are they talking a lot? If they are, you might want to think about, all right, I got to at least be from the waist up. If they're just doing action, I can show more of the body. But if you have them talking a lot and you want them to basically feel like they're getting the best quality audio, chest up. Good audio, close enough to the microphone, you know you're going to capture it very well. And when you're wanting to know, hey, how does it sound? We also have a place where you're going to plug in a set of headphones. So those headphones get plugged in right here. If you don't wear a set of headphones when you're recording, how do you know you have good audio? It's just a guess, right? So you have to be able to make sure that you have good audio. Plug in those headphones, listen. So we have some good isolating headphones for you to use when you are recording, and audio is important so you can hear as you're recording as the camera operator.